Yeah, so this is completely disgusting. So Jen Psaki, who is the White House communications director right now, she's the press secretary. Sorry, she there's reports that basically she already has a deal with MSNBC to be a host there, which is like, what the hell? You're still working as the White House press secretary. You're still taking questions. You already have a deal with MSNBC. You're not even out of your position at the White House yet. What the fuck? So, Chris Wallace, I guess, was challenging her on this, and she says it's normal to engage next career style while still in government. It says White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told CNN host Chris Wallace this week it is perfectly normal for her to pursue future employment opportunities while serving in government. During an appearance Wednesday on his recently debuted talk program on CNN's new streaming channel, Wallace asked Psaki about an ethics complaint made against her regarding comments she has made about a Fox News journalist and media reports on her inking a cable news job once she leaves President Biden's White House. What I will tell you, Chris, and you know this from covering White House in the past, there are certain requirements of anybody who's serving. If you are talking to or engaging, thinking about any future employment, which is normal, that's what nearly everybody does who at some point will leave the White House, Psaki said. I've gone over and above those requirements. I've received full counseling from the counsel's office, and I will continue to do that throughout my time here at the White House. Wallace is referencing a letter to the White House counsel Dana Remus this week from an organization called Protect the People's Trust, alleging that she had violated ethical codes by, quote, disparaging Fox News correspondent Peter Doocy. The group also suggested in this letter that Psaki's reported deal to become a host and analyst on MSNBC raises a conflict of interest. Psaki did not confirm reports of her upcoming gig at the network when pressed by Wallace. I have nothing to announce about what's next. I'm going to sleep at some point when I leave. I'm going to maybe read some fiction books. I'm going to spend time with my family. That is definitely a weird thing to say. There's a long-standing precedent for former government officials taking jobs in media, lobbying, and public affairs after leaving public service. Kayleigh McEnany, the last person to hold Psaki's job under former President Trump, took a gig with Fox News Channel as a contributor and analyst soon after leaving the White House. The director of Protect the People's Trust, a former Trump administration official. So this is something that I hope actually gets more attention. This is hilariously flagrant because, I don't know the specific deets of these kinds of transfers, but you should be banned from having any sorts of conversations about future employment while you're still in the White House. It should be a complete ban. It's kind of like the free agency bans that exist. Like, hey, you can't have discussions about free agency deals or stuff or signings until the free agency window opens in sports. Now, I know that that's not fully, legit, obviously, but you should be completely banned from talking about any future employment. And that's such a low bar. This is like a shock to me because I'm like, okay, unfortunately, we live in a country where it's normal for this kind of bullshit to happen, where it's like, oh, you worked in the White House. Now all of a sudden you're working at CNN or MSNBC. Whoa. You definitely just got that on merits and not the fact that you have connects to the White House or politics and now you can give them inroads to the White House. It's super shady. But you're talking about inking a deal before you're even out of your White House position? What the fuck? Are you serious right now? You couldn't even meet that bare bones literal below ground bar of waiting until you're out of the White House? Are you serious right now? This is disgusting. And honestly, dude, if we can really close this kind of like revolving door of, oh, you go in the government, the White House, and then you get this nice 6-figure weed marijuana company fucking lobbying contract when you were against weed legalization when you were even in office. If we could close that revolving door of corruption, that would be amazing. But this is a whole new bar. But I wish we could really hold people in the White House accountable. You should not. This should be the bare bones below ground bar. There should be no communication about deals allowed between networks. And that is a serious huge issue of conflict of interest. If there's reports of you inking a deal already and discussing a deal with MSNBC and you're shitting on a Fox News reporter, that is, whether or not you're a Trump supporter, whoever the fuck, that is a huge conflict of interest. That's a huge issue, a gigantic issue. And so This is something that's really fucking disgusting. And, there's a lot of scrutiny going on now with the stock ownership and that kind of stuff with congressional members, which is also disgusting because you're making laws that heavily impact the economy, and yet you're trading in said economy. That's unfair. It's cheating the system, and you should not be allowed to do it. And also, it gives you a conflict of interest between your constituents and your personal stock interests and your personal money interests. So, hopefully this is something that we can talk about. Democrats are going to be, I guess, somewhat understandably so, very reactionarily defensive, because they're going to say, oh, well, what about Trump and Republicans? Which is understandable because Republicans do a shit ton of horrible stuff too, typically worse than Democrats. But man, we got to stop this. I mean, this is crazy. You're talking about inking a deal before you're even out of the White House. Oh my God. How embarrassing is our country, to the point where the White House press secretary has already started discussing this deal with a private news network while she's still in the White House. Oh my God. You couldn't even do the horrible thing of waiting until you're out of the White House. It's already bad enough that you can just get these comfy, cushiony jobs after being in government. You couldn't even wait. You started inking a deal as you're still in the White House. Holy fuck. This is so disgusting. But hopefully there will be more scrutiny on this, and we can at least start up a conversation about this revolving door issue. But wow, I mean, talking about the bar was so low and somehow you limboed below it. I don't even know how.